Well, hello, hello. How are you doing? How are you doing? This is the S. Anthony Thomas. This is the S. Anthony Says podcast, episode number 480. And today we're going to talk about Airbag Friends. You're going to know what I'm talking about. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Are you ready? Cool. Now, I'll explain what I'm talking about right now. I was watching a video, and it was a video on levels of wealth, and I was watching basically what rich people do. And the more rich a person gets, the more powerful they get, the more they delegate things out to people around them. You know, they got assistants and staff and all of that kind of crap. And everybody around them has to do what they say and has to be on their P's and Q's. They can't critique them at all. And all you have around you at that point are yes people. Oh, that's fantastic. I love the way you picked up that fork, put it in the food, and then put the food in your mouth. You're a genius. You know what I'm talking about, right? But I saw one particular rich person who shall remain nameless. And this guy was doing some things that from the outside looking in look really good. Right? Everybody loved him. People either loved him or didn't give a crap. Nobody really hated the guy. You know, I mean, there's also a few haters here and there, but nobody that you really pay attention to, or not an amount of haters that you wouldn't pay attention to. And he kept becoming more successful and more successful. It was almost like it couldn't stop. It was almost like he had the Midas touch. But then again, he didn't. See, what happens is people always say that alcohol and anger will reveal who you actually are. And I'm saying that may be true, but if you have to add something to that list, I'd have to say money and power. They will reveal who you really are. If you had a rough childhood, if things were bad for you, right? Say you had to catch the bus and everybody else you knew had a car or whatever. The second you become wealthy, rich, powerful, what do? You buy 50 of the most expensive cars because you're a billionaire now, dag nabbit, and you can afford it. You do it, right? If you had a guy that was a bit of a geek and he couldn't get any girlfriends, the second he becomes rich and powerful, what's the first thing he does? Exactly. He overindulges in that area. That's what happens. So it reveals character. So this particular person that I'm referring to, well, as soon as he became almost untouchable because of his wealth, he started to think that he could do no wrong. And he would have to think that's right because everybody around him is telling him he can't do any wrong. So maybe he can't do any wrong. Maybe he's awesome in every way. Maybe he should start giving his opinions on things where he has no expertise at all. Maybe he should start doing that, right? And the people around him tell him he's wrong. Ha, just kidding. No, they don't. But a lot of times when you get power like that, and you think you can do no wrong, you start to make dumb decisions. And those dumb decisions start to take place in your life, right? You got a beautiful, wonderful wife with some great kids, but that secretary's ass looks like dessert. And I have to have a taste of that. And you hit on the secretary, right? And the secretary's like, what the heck? Right? And then all of a sudden, boom, boom, jiggy, boom, da boom, jiggy, jiggy. Now when she walks down a hallway, you're just picturing, not you, but the rich guy. He's just picturing her buttocks covered in whipped cream because the night before in that hotel, it was. And he got away with it. Nobody in the office knows what happened. His secretary is very, very smart. She's getting it on with him several times a week, but she's smart enough to keep her mouth shut. Oh, yeah, so now he's doing it. She kept her mouth shut. Not a problem. He goes into another office. There's a new hire. And, oh, she also looks like she would look good with whipped cream on her chest yummies. And he talks to her. He hits on her. She's with it. And now, all of a sudden, the first secretary he's getting it on with was wondering why 50% of his time is gone. She doesn't mind if he goes home to his wife, but what's going on here, right? And now when the other lady that he's hitting on and he's getting it on within the office, when she walks around, her chest yummies, he remembers, oh, the whipped cream on her chest yummies. Yeah, that's right. Now he's sleeping with two secretaries. But the second secretary isn't as closed-mouthed as the first secretary because the secretary finds about the first secretary. She thought she was the only secretary getting it on with him. And then she goes to the first secretary and tells her, and then they fight. A fight becomes big. It becomes big news. And all of a sudden his wife knows and divorces him. Why did he do that? Because he thought he could get away with it. He didn't have a friend that said, "Now, oh, bro, you got a good wife and good kids. Don't do that." Nope. He had yes men around him. They acted like they didn't see anything. It wasn't their place. Even his friends didn't say anything because he's the rich friend and they need to shut up because they want to go to the UFC and they want to go to the Super Bowl and they want to be given fake jobs that pay them 4 times what their salary was before their friend became rich. So they shut their punk mouths and don't tell him when he's being an idiot. And he winds up losing half of his net worth and 75% of the respect people had for him. He's now a laughing stock. Yes, he has money, well, half of it. But he didn't have any friends around him to tell him not to do stupid things. I have friends that will tell me if I'm doing stupid things. My friends, but they don't even wait till I do something stupid. If I'm even thinking about doing something stupid, hey, that's Anthony. Yeah, that's stupid, man. You know, right? And I do the same for them. See, I don't drink alcohol, which means I'm almost always, 98% of the time, when I hang out with my friends, I am the designated driver because I don't drink. And most of my friends are social drinkers. You know, they don't get drunk, but because I don't drink at all, it's always best that if I drive. But we did have a friend who drank a little bit too much. Right? We we're like, hey, wait a minute now. And we tried to tell him and he got mad. Hey, I'm a grown man. Don't you tell me what to do, man. Y'all my friends and everything, but y'all not my parents. We're like, yeah, your parents also told you. Well, that's not the point. Said your parents told you you're getting drunk too much too. And we tried to tell him and he wouldn't listen. He got so angry at us because it wasn't fun hanging out with him anymore. Because we knew he was going to get drunk. We knew he was going to get in trouble. We knew that we were going to have to keep him from getting in trouble. You know how many times this particular friend, I had to step in front of him before somebody was going to beat him down, right? Or drag him home, right? And send one of his relatives back to get his car, right? It got to the point where he didn't want to hang around us because we were giving him a hard time, trying to tell him what to do. But what happened was he left our protection. Now, we weren't like some tough guys or anything like that, but if there's one guy trying to fight your friend and 5 guys jump up and go, whoa, we'll take him out here. Don't worry about it. It's still protection, right? But he left our protection. And he went to another bar that we didn't go to, right? And, well, let's just say, how can I put it? I'm not going to say what happened to him at that bar, but it rhymes with got his ass kicked. Right? And why did that happen? Because he had friends who tried to help him out and he didn't listen. Don't have yes people around you. You got to have that one, at least one friend who can tell you when you're being an idiot. At least one person who can walk up to you no matter what your status and tell you you're being a fool. Right? They can be diplomatic about it. I tend to be diplomatic about it when I tell my friends they're a moron. But I still get the moron thought in their head, like, maybe I shouldn't do this. This is kind of dumb. Exactly. You got to have friends that are like an airbag in your car. Right? You got to have friends that are like a seatbelt or the brakes in your car. You got to have that. Right? It's like somebody telling you the truth. They're protecting you. Right? Hey, man. Be careful in that place, man. Those dudes are, man, ain't nothing gonna happen to me. Oh God, let me beaten up. Right? Hey, man, that particular person that you're trying to become in a romantic relationship with, they have a significant other that is, how can I put this? Gonna whip your ass. Wait until she's free and clear. He's free and clear from that place, from that person. Make sure they're free and clear from that relationship. And it's been a while. I know you want them, but I'm telling you right now, it's more problems than you're worth. Oh man, get out of here, man. Get out of here. I will date who I want. And what happens? Exactly. They come back to you. They rekindle the friendship 8, 9 months later, maybe a year later. And what do they tell you? I should have listened to you guys. Yes, you should have listened. If you had listened, you wouldn't have had to have gotten your windshield replaced 15 times. That's a lot of money. You're starting to take money out of your kid's college account because you're getting your tires slashed and your windows broken every 6 weeks, you stupid. You know what I'm saying, right? With the drunk friend, we never actually reconnected with that guy because He just started to get this really, really horrible reputation in the bars downtown. And people would look at us, and even though we weren't associated with him anymore, they looked at us like, "Weren't you friends with that dude?" I'm like, "We said, no, and then we had." I don't like to deny knowing somebody usually, but it's like he's not part of our friend group anymore, and I want to make sure that it's established that we are not even peripherally responsible for what this dumbass does. I'm like, "Nah, he sat with us a couple times, but he ain't with us." "Oh, I didn't think he was with y'all because y'all don't act like that." "Yeah, I don't know him." You know what I'm saying? So we need to look out for him. I say, "Hey, man, I got nothing to do with it, right?" And he went on to do whatever he is, but he wasn't part of our friend group anymore because he wouldn't listen. But like I said, your friends are like that airbag, the brakes, or the seatbelt in your car. They protect you from the crash. Right? People get mad when you try to protect them, when you try to give them advice. Do you get mad when the car abruptly stops in front of you, then you slam down on the brakes with your foot? And the car keeps you from running over a kid or running over a person or going off a cliff or running into something that's going to blow up or running into the back of an expensive car and you don't want to get your insurance to go crazy? You don't yell at the brakes, "Hey, brakes, I know you stopped me from smacking into that car, but you didn't have to be so loud. Couldn't you just stop my car without all the That was really embarrassing the way you screeched when I stepped on the brakes." No, you just say, "Thank goodness my brakes work." And then you go on about your business. And now you're paying more attention to when you're driving. You're not looking down at your phone, which is why you had to step on the brakes in the first place. Dumb. Put the phone down. You don't get mad at your seatbelt, right? If you've ever been in an accident, and I've been in an accident, when my friend was driving a little too fast, and all of a sudden the car crashed and the seatbelt, we kept you in place. You would have been rocketed out of the car, but it kept you in place. I don't go, "Wait a second, seatbelt. You kept me from getting thrown out of the car, but look what you did. You wrinkled my shirt. I pressed this shirt, and now it's got wrinkles in it, okay? Yeah, you kept me from being rocketed through the windshield and thrown down the street at 75 miles an hour, but my shirt's wrinkled." No, you don't do that. You say, "Thank goodness this seatbelt held up." Right? Airbag goes off. Psst, psst. Oh my, this is ridiculous. You bruised my nose and I got a couple of burn marks on my cheek, seatbelt. You make me sick. What's wrong with you? Yeah, that's right. You kept me from being disfigured. You kept me from getting my face broken. You kept my nose from being broken. You kept me from being messed up. But how dare you? You wouldn't say that to that device, would you? You'd be glad you had an airbag. And I think it's the same thing with our friends, man, and with the people that are around you. The best case scenario, obviously, is if you have an internal dialogue that you can look at yourself objectively, which is virtually impossible. There's levels of looking at yourself objectively, cool, but you can't look at yourself completely objectively. It's hard to tear apart what you did and look at it like it's somebody else. You get better at it, you get closer to being able to do it over time, but you still probably need somebody from the outside looking at it. It could be your friend, right? It could be family members. It could be your significant other, but you do need that person that has permission, that you've given permission, emotional, spiritual permission to walk up to you, even if you're the best, the greatest, incredible, super rich, super powerful, and all of that crap. They're going to walk up to you and go, "What are you doing?" "Well, I want to do this." Well, does that really make sense? I'll explain why I think that might not be the best idea for you. "Okay, let me hear it. Blah, 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 blah." "Oh, man, I didn't even think about that." So you got to have those people around you. Because a lot of times we pick friends because, hey, man, we have a good time at the bar, laughing and joking and talking about sports and farting. And that's great. You should have friends like that. Then you have friends that you have serious conversations with. They're not the funniest guys or the funniest people, but you enjoy talking to them. It's an enlightening conversation. They give you a unique perspective, but they don't give you advice. You're just talking about current events and all of that kind of crap. You got to have those friends too. But you need at least that one person who will tell you, "Yo, bro, I know the girl at the bar looks like she looks delicious. I understand that. But I'm your boy, and you're a grown man. You do what you want. I can't tell you what to do. All right? But all I'm saying is, let me ask you a question. if somebody hurt your wife emotionally, God forbid physically, what would you do? I bust her, I kick their ass. Exactly. So what do you think's going to happen if you get caught cheating with that girl with the fat ass at the bar when your wife finds out, or if you sleep with that woman and she gets pregnant, or you catch a venereal disease and maybe take it back to your wife? How do you think she's going to feel then? Do you think she'll be hurt? Oh man, I mean, exactly. You jump on top of that woman, it's going to feel good for a few minutes, right? And then all of us, well, hours if I'm the one doing it, but that's a different story. Back to you. And, you're going to feel bad. And then, you're going to wind up losing your wife, and your kids are going to look at you like you're a piece of crap. You're going to, man, yeah, you right, man. You right. Right? You got that friend that's drinking too much. Bro. Last time we were here, man, you had a bunch of margaritas or whatever drink is, whatever. Name some potent drink. I don't drink alcohol, so give me a break. You drank 2 floppy flops, right? You were cool, but then you drank 3 more, and there was a group in the back. That was a group of guys who were at anger management classes, and they were sitting there they were sitting there angry because they got kicked out of the anger management classes for being too violent. And they're still wearing their kung fu uniform. So you just basically walk back to a bunch of dudes who got kicked out of an anger management class wearing kung fu uniforms and told them their moms was ugly. All right? And they was about to chop your behind up and throw you out the window. And so now I want you to understand, please, if you're going to hang out with us, please don't get blasted, because I'm not getting in any more fights protecting your dumb behind, okay? Think about us, all right? You know what, man? I didn't really think it was a problem like that. You know what? I'm gonna limit myself, man. I realized I was acting like that, man. That's what you hope happens when you talk to the people. But you and I both know, sometimes you talk to a person, you try to give them some advice, they think you're trying to control them. You're not trying to control them, you're just trying to help. And they get mad at you. Some people will actually get mad at you if you tell them the truth, and they'll get rid of you. But do you really want to be around somebody that you can't have an honest conversation with? Right? I've been in relationships. I was dating a lady, and I'm trying to have an honest conversation with her. And I'm not critiquing. I'm just saying just a regular honest conversation. And every time I even slightly disagreed with her, all of a sudden, she damn near put on a chastity belt, right? And would not talk to me for a couple of days. Now keep in mind, these are not fights. These are not arguments. These are not knockdown, drag out. Oh yeah, well your mother's oh yeah, well your well let me tell you. Nothing. The voices weren't even raised. I just have to slightly disagree with her on anything. One time we went to get something to eat, and she told me, "Oh, I love the floop-de floop." It was a restaurant that had a specialty of I forgot what it was, but it was a specialty of some kind of dish, and I had it before. Not at this particular place, but I had it before. I didn't like it. And it wasn't like I didn't like, I strongly dislike, I hated it. I didn't like the taste of it. I put one fork in my mouth and was like, and got rid of it. Right? I tried it again. My friends go, man, try it at this place. I tried it again. Guess what happened? Exactly the same thing. Right? So I had tried it twice. I go with her. She doesn't realize I tried it twice, because he sprung it on me. I'm going to order you a floop-de-floop. And I'm going, no, I don't want a floop-de-floop. Why don't you try the floop-de-floop, because it's the best? I said, no, I've tried it before. I don't like it. But you never tried it here. I'm a grown man trying to decide what I want to eat for dinner. I'm paying for the dinner anyway. And she was mad the whole night. I mean, the whole dinner, angry. Like, when people take their eyes and they kind of squint them down, like 25% squint on the eyes, right? The top left of her mouth was kind of curled up the whole time, right? Stuff she would normally laugh at, she didn't laugh at, right? I think she blinked like 3 times in 45 minutes, right? And I'm trying to eat my food, and every time I take a fork full of food and put it in my mouth, she gets angrier. Why? Because that fork didn't contain that crap that she wanted me to eat. And about 4 or 5 times during the course of the meal, she would put a fork into that garbage and try to, here, eat this. And I didn't mind eating off her fork. She didn't mind eating off of each other's forks. Why would we? You understand what I'm saying. If you can eat food off somebody's, never mind. Shut up. Don't you mind your business. But I didn't want it, and she got angry. So how am I going to tell this particular person if there's something big I see, if there's a gigantic red flag, or if there's a danger that I see lurking in the future for her, and I have been in a similar circumstance, and I know what's about to happen because I've been there and done that in a specific area, and I have practical knowledge and maybe even expertise in that area, and I try to tell this person when she won't even talk to me for 2 days. This is years and years ago, of course. I wouldn't put up with that crap now, but she wouldn't talk to me for 2 days because I didn't want to try the food that she had, even though I had already tried it twice and confirmed that I didn't like it. Now imagine trying to tell her something. Imagine if after we broke up, she went out with somebody else, but somebody who wasn't like me, who treated her well, but somebody was going to treat her like crap, but he had, and her friends, well, you probably shouldn't go out with that guy. She'd freak the flip out and curse them out and probably wouldn't talk to him for a month. So, you didn't need to have the people that are going to tell you the truth. But here's the other thing. You got to be willing to listen to the truth, too. When somebody gives you that advice, listen to what is said. I've been trained a long time ago by a loved one to listen to the message and not necessarily the method. Because sometimes even a person who's mean to you will say mean things, but hidden within the mean things that they're saying is information that is accurate and applicable to what you're doing at the time, right? So sometimes you have to listen to what they're saying and not how they're saying it. But you got to be willing to listen to what a person is saying and apply that information no matter how it's brought to you. So I listen to my friends when they give me advice, and my friends listen to me when I give them advice. And I've surrounded myself with people who will tell me when I'm wrong and who will celebrate me when I'm right. And you should have that too. You dig? Of course you do. This has been episode number 480, my friends. Thank you for listening. Thank you for coming back. And the new people, thank you for coming on. I know you're coming over from YouTube. What's it, YouTube Music? You guys are listening to it on my YouTube Music people. Thank you to YouTube. This podcast is everywhere. So if you want to listen to it on any podcatcher that exists, it's on there. If you like this show, and you do, make sure that you tell your friends to listen to the show. If you like this show, and you do, make sure you double check to make sure you're subscribed to the show. If you like the show, and you do, follow me on Spotify if you love it. Follow me on YouTube Music, wherever you are. Subscribe to this podcast, and if you love it, and you do, make sure you rate and review this podcast 5 stars, please. Much love to you all. This is Mr. S. Anthony Thomas, the uncle you wish you had. Love you all, my friends, and I'll see you again next week. Take care.